OpenAI has released a new feature called Deep Research. Built on top of the O3 model, it allows you to prompt the AI to research a specific topic for you, such as what is the best programming language. Before I get the answer to this important question, let's take a look at what this new feature does according to OpenAI. It tells you that it's already available for those people that are using Pro and Plus or Teams. And what it's meant to do is help you analyze and find bits of information on the web by pulling in hundreds of references and compiling reports. The questions can be highly nuanced and specific, like this one about iOS and Android adoption rates, or this one about trying to find a TV show they watched a long time ago with a few bits of information about what was in there, or even this UX example to help find evidence that show buttons with icons and labels are more usable than buttons without labels or labels and icons. This goes through and generates a huge report with a conclusion based on all the information and references it finds. When comparing to other AI models, OpenAI says that it scored the highest result possible in humanity's last exam. This is a new exam for large language models that has 3,000 challenging questions across hundreds of different types of subjects. And when you compare this to things like GPT-4o, which scored 3%, and DeepSeek R1, which scored 9.4%, you can see what a difference it's made. But it comes at a cost. When you go ahead and use Deep Research and search, it takes a lot longer to think about what it's going to do for its response. It'll even ask you follow-up questions so that it can definitely do the proper research and browse the web in order to give you back the answer you need. Such as here, where it's asked me to clarify about the type of website I want to build. Then it'll go off and do its thing, starting to browse the web to give me back the best answer possible. Now, this can be very useful, especially if you're working in the science, engineering, and other spaces, but for the programming space, this can also be useful to help you do a number of things, which I want to test out in this video. Here, you can see it working in action. Right now, it's using chain of thought and reasoning to perform a number of queries, where it's browsing the web for official documentation, as well as things like blogs and a number of different types of sources until it compiles it all in a huge report for you to be able to read. Here's a question I prepared earlier. What is the best programming language? And there's a reason that I prepared this earlier, because it took 12 minutes to search up. It prepared 18 different types of sources, and from this, it was able to create a huge report. First, it asked me for some specifics, such as what do you mean by best, and what are you learning to do? Web development, data science, game development, maybe looking for a job or just to learn. And after this, it compiled this huge report with a nice table breaking down exactly what I should be learning depending on where I'm trying to go. At the end of this massive report, guess what? It didn't tell me which is the best programming language. It just said it depends, which I'm not surprised. But it did list Python as the very first bullet point, so maybe there's something there. Next, I wanted to see if I could generate some feedback on my own website to see what recommendations it might have for web design or content. However, I don't think this is the intended use case, since when I did test this out, it spent 5 minutes researching exactly what makes a good looking website from different types of blogs and references, but nothing specific to my website itself. There is one use case I really like, which is helping create educational content, such as helping me build a website from scratch as a beginner. Here's one example where I asked it to do that using Next.js, and it goes through and researches different types of source and material in order to put this guide together for me. I've been waiting for this example for way too long, so let's move on to the next one. And here's another example of it putting together a guide for me. I wanted to build something on the no-code platform Wix Studio, and it spent 13 minutes and 25 sources putting together this huge guide about how to create an account, how to build websites using templates, and much more. Of course, you can use it for general programming too. I asked it to help me write a JavaScript function that works a little bit like the Matrix, making characters fall from the screen. It did some research for me with about 8 different sources and put together this code, which I'm going to try out right now. Let me test this out. Here I've got an iframe, which I'm going to throw the code into and see if it works. And there we go. Pretty cool. I'll be interested to see how Deep Research progresses and how people end up using it, because it's another glimpse of what AI agents will look like in the future.